what do we do? How often we test? It's another thing to consider. Do we come and test them every time we come to class, just to have them on the tiptoes and to have them ready all the time, or do we do it at the very end, like a unit test or something like that? Again, all those things have to be considered. Target performance, what do we want to know? That's it's unit-driven content, and we want to know that they're actually taking what we gave them, that actually intake happened. Or we are taking it up a notch and actually put it against the big picture and compare our practices with actual standards, and we actually try to kind of bring those together, because most textbooks don't really spell it out, how to put those together and what we're actually doing, and how many of us are certified testers or even went through the workshops so that we know what performances testify to certain proficiency levels. So if you're teaching first year level, what you should expect from your students, because they're going to be novices, what should you expect them to do? And if you went through the guidelines, you would know, yes, they basically can't do much. They can produce lists of things, they can name months, they can name days of the week, they can name clothes, or they can communicate very primitively using rehearsed language, some chunks that they remembered. For instance, it's so easy to perform polite request in Russian by just one word. Можно, may I? So we teach this speech act, which we reduce just to one word, and students can perform it. But outside of this можно, they can't really produce any other requests. Their requests are very, very limited. So what to expect at each level? And again, those are the guidelines, and we try to say that yes, in the first year we're producing novices. Towards the intermediate, at the second level, we're producing already intermediate, mid, and intermediate high, and in the third level classes, we're producing advanced. That's what we claim. However, if you compare research, and it's very scarce, and it's understandable why, it's embarrassing to report that actually only 40% of our students reach the expected levels, and most of them, sometimes in the third year Russian, or even major, who finished 5 years of Russian, don't reach intermediate high. They're still intermediate. So to answer your question, yeah, it's hard. It's hard to bring them to the level if you only have 3 times a week, 50 minutes for a difficult language.
And you don't have that many cognates.
What is that?
And you don't have that many cognates.
Yes, exactly. So our trade is difficult, and it's all about compromises and finding a way to be effective.
I have a problem also with that ACTFL standard for the paragraph level discourse, which I think there are plenty of very good communicators who rarely speak in paragraphs. If you're a good interlocutor,
Exactly.
you pause and let the other person speak.
And
And you have good listening skills that allow you to make targeted interventions in discourse.
Exactly. It's this. They kind of conflate this with description of the speech. Because if you're in the presentational mode and you know that you have to report on some serious issue, at least, and you're given 10 minutes, and you can set it up as a presentation at a conference or
Right.
at a
But
meeting.
most people in their native
Yes,
language
the
rehearse
people-
that. I mean, it's a
yes,
rehearsed speech
exactly.
act. It's not
It would
an
be-
improvised
it would
speech
be.
act.
But in normal conversation in ACTFL, and ACTFL kind of, originally it was a test that tested conversation within interpersonal communication. Who speaks in paragraphs?
If you speak in paragraphs, you're not listening to the other person.
Actually, I know, I have a friend
My
who
wife does
speaks
that.
in paragraphs. I avoid this friend because this is unbearable, to of the list, especially when you go out, you're kind of exhausted. All you want is just to hang out and be easy and light, and instead you are given these paragraphs and you're supposed to answer them or react to them, and it's just plenty too much. So yeah, great points. Where we were. Yeah, this is again. Also, I wanted to bring up the issue of technology. It's nice to have technology. It allows so much. My personal likes for technology is for the rich input. I can provide lots of input. I can do voice, I can do video, and it doesn't really take me long. Because I remember 10 or 15 years ago when I just started out teaching, to tape your own video, to edit your own video, it was a 2-minute video would cost you in your hours, would cost you at least an hour of work. So it was like so inefficient. And now you sit out in front of your laptop, you press the button, yeah, it's ready. So for that, I like the technology. I like the technology for providing a very precise vocabulary instruction. For instance, and I think it's very important, I don't know if you ran into this, it depends on the level you teach, how to justify the vocabulary we give, how to justify lists. Why do we think that these lists are important and those lists are not? What should be on the list? What words should be on the list? And I would swear and give my hands to cut off that, would bet my life on it probably, that most of our textbooks are done randomly without careful selection of these words, and mostly out of inertia. At some point it was decided, yes, those words are kind of basic, so yeah, and they populate pretty much every textbooks. So now with the technology, and with the corpus technology in particular, that tells us what are the most commonly used words across genres, across speech genres, across various geographical areas. We can select those words. We can select not just words, but the collocations, the words they're usually combined with. And every one of us native speakers know that that's how we know that the person is not a native speaker. When the person, instead of saying, I work at a university, says, I labor at the university, yeah, it would be metaphorically, maybe correctly. But if the person says something like this, you immediately catch it as an unusual phrasing, and if you get more data from the person, then you say, oh no, it's not metaphor, it's actually the person doesn't know how to say it correctly. So it's very important that we teach how to use the words. That we can say the sun rises, but we can't say the sun goes up or the sun probably gets metaphorically. So this is very important. And corpus data helps a lot because it gives you exact percentage or exact number and exact data of how the native speakers, the majority of native speakers use it. That's it. And this should go into the textbooks instead of, oh, I feel like including it. Yeah, and maybe it's not a good idea. Okay. So again, it's all these situations that come into the massive work of course creation. Now I suggest that we take a little leap, and I will show you a quiz that is given to students. Yeah. Right now, in first year Russian, this is their second quiz. And you can tell just by looking at it, and I will enlarge it a little bit. So also the point of today's conversation and our working together was, how many students do you have to assess it? class, what is your regular class size?
20 per class.
20 per class. 20 per class. 20 per class in the elementary level, 20 per class in the second level, and maybe 10, 15 in the third, and maybe only less than 10 to go further. Same? Only
20 to 25, 15, and 7.
So,
So
yeah, it's
7 to 10, if third year gets started.
pretty much the same. Do you have the same number?
Yeah, around 5 to 10.
5 to
Student.
10 in the first or
There,
The fours are similar actually.
very similar
Yeah.
numbers? So then again, I think 20 students is a lot for language classroom because, and we collect homework every day. So as instructors, we have lots of homework. In addition to preparation of our classes, we also have to check the homework, so it's a lot of work. And 20 quizzes, it's a lot. My second question is, how often do you rotate them? How often do you create new quizzes? Each year, every semester, every like other year, once in 5 years? Never. Well, we do it.
All the time. I mean, you create a quiz and then you see what works and then you maybe revise that a little bit and add something that you've thought of in the meantime. I think it's a constant process.
So that's again something that goes into the decision, paper or Canvas. And if you have this choice, Esther doesn't have this choice because she teaches online courses, so she has just one medium and she has to make that medium effective. However, if we have a choice, it's a very important decision because putting this online would take at least 10 hours. Maybe I'm a little bit exaggerating, but this 2-page quiz putting online would take a lot, yeah, would take some time, more than putting it like this. It also takes time, but again, editing is easy. I can adjust it every time I give it to students. I can change it. With online thing, it's a little bit, it gets trickier. So that's time and effort that you put into this product is important. The pluses, on the other hand, is it gets graded like this.
Okay.
Unless you have essays in your course, then it doesn't get graded like this. But if it's multiple choice, yes, it's very quick grading, and you can recycle it from year to year. Again, if you like recycling, if you like editing, then it's probably not the best platform. Now, in terms of production, again, what kind of production should be tested on Canvas if you have the choice Canvas or not Canvas? If you don't teach the online course, then again you decide, okay, this seems very easy. It is a production exercise, right? We agree on this. It's very simple, but it's production. They're producing little items. They're producing words. So,
Thanks, Leah.
should I put it online or not? Is it worth it to put it online or not? And how should I do it if I put this online to make it work? This is my quiz. And basically we're talking, you can tell we're talking food pyramid, and we're practicing very simple identification sentences. These are carbs, and this is example of carbs. These are fats, and this is example of fats. And you can see that we're trying to frame it so that it sounds a little bit normal and not odd and outlandish. So you explain to a friend what those are, so you kind of giving a lecture. Is it worth it? Put it online? And how should I do it? What my choices would be?